the American Constitutional Republic, affairs of state in Oklahoma, the beliefs, principles, opinions, and views of people like you. This is 3D Politics. Featuring creator of Sooner Politics and expert on Oklahoma state government, David Vann. Also joining us every week, founder and scholar at constitutionalgrounds.com, political leader, educational speaker, David Oldham. And of course, me, your director and host of 3D Politics, Tommy McKay. Comedian, political humorist, and father of 5, former mayoral candidate. Here we go. We got an exciting show tonight. Cannot believe everybody we've got on the show tonight. It's all about the state GOP chair. There's a vote April 10th coming up this Saturday. The internal GOP state GOP chair is up for election tonight. We have Jenni White, Christine Leviathan, and John Bennett, all three lined up. The invitation was sent also to Charles Ortega, but we could not find him in time for the show this evening. So I want to tell you who we've got on first tonight. Up first, Jenni White. She's got a master's in biology. She's worked in advertising, epidemiology. She's a teacher. She is a co-founder of Reclaiming Oklahoma Parent Empowerment. 12 years grassroots organizing. She is married, a homeschooler, and currently serving as mayor of Luther, Oklahoma. Let's bring in our first guest, Jenni White. Here she goes. Beam her in. Oh, there she is. She made it. Poof, there she is. All the tech. Right. We love to work it in. There she is. How was that for an intro, Jenni? We work in. Oh, you couldn't hear it.
That was awesome.
Could you hear anything out there?
No, I could not.
Like I said, Purgatory wasn't so bad, like I said. No. All right, so here we go. I gave you, I basically touched base on your bio, the Oklahoma Parent Empowerment, Mayor of Luther, etc. Basically, the bio. And so I want to explore. We'll press you with a couple of questions, the 3D scrutiny, I call it. But basically, what's your motivations for running, your main policy directions, and solutions.
Okay. Honestly, I'm running because, I've spent a lot of years doing grassroots organizing, and it's been kind of inside and outside the party. But one of the things that kind of has frustrated me over the years is that there were times when I felt kind of left out of the party. And it was really interesting because after the 6th, January 6th, and we went to Washington, D.C., everything was so upside down. I mean, I couldn't think straight. I mean, all I did was sit over my phone and read news. I mean, it was bizarre. And I think I just kind of, it was the weirdest time I think I've ever had. And I've had a lot of weird times in 58 years, but that was weird. And then kind of what ended up happening was I sort of started getting my feet back under me. And then I got back I thought, you know what, I'm done with this. I'm going to get back into the party and we'll just see how it goes. So I went to my precinct meeting and went to my county meeting. But the coolest thing that happened was that my friend Rhonda, who I've been friends with for a long time, got the state GOP chair. And then I had another friend that I've worked with in Oklahoma County a long time, Galen Stupich, and she got vice chair. And all I could think about was, for once in my life, maybe I wouldn't be on the outside. And so I just thought, if there was ever a time to do it, it felt like now was going to be the time to do it. And it wasn't just a foregone. I mean, I didn't just suddenly think of it out of the blue. I mean, I didn't just come in out of the blue. I mean, I really sat down with the rules And people have laughed at this before, but I'm a researcher. I mean, that's kind of what I do. So I sat down with the rules and I wanted to see what the GOP chair did. And I wanted to see if I was actually qualified for the job. So I went through and I looked through and to see what the rules actually said about the job. And I thought, I can do this. I mean, this is what I've been kind of training to do for the past 12 years. And so I thought, that I want to do this. I feel like now is the time. I feel like it's super important. We don't have any time to mess around. I mean, we are so close to being, you always wonder if we're going to be Venezuela. I mean, at the rate we're going, seriously, look at the gas prices now and you think, are we just this side of Venezuela now? I mean, we have to do something now.
Jenni, let me jump in real fast. Sure. As an expert jeweler, I can tell that you have a beautiful piece of jewelry hanging around your neck, but it's also bouncing off of your microphone.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
You'll want to
I'm so
adjust,
sorry.
Clutch the pearls or do something
okay. How about if I do that?
That'll help. One way or the other. It's ruining your speech, because we're wanting to hear what you're saying is chingly, chingly. Okay, so I hear you. So you're running. So tell us, when it comes to your policy directions, you. In fact, I think I asked somebody the same question last week. What is the job of the state GOP chair? What do you think that job is?
Well, it's got three parts, and without going into being super geeky about it, basically it's to support national, statewide elections, but also at the precinct level, and then also national elections. And, my big thing for years has been grassroots. I mean, that's what I've done for 12 whole years. And I think that people don't understand how the party works. They don't understand that the boots on the ground, the people in the precincts are the ones that make everything happen. They're the ones that can get people elected. They're the ones that can find people for elected official spots. That's what they do. And I just think that my particular policy and what I really am excited about doing is recharging the grassroots by training them, educating them. And when I say educating them, I don't mean, some people don't even know how. Yeah, some people don't even know how a bill is passed, and I'm not making fun of anybody. I didn't.
No, this is something. Yeah, you're among friends here. This is something that I went off like a pop bottle rocket the other day with Oldham, talking about how you become a state elector, and I was like, I should have learned that in 6th grade. I don't know why I don't know this stuff. How come? This is like just a month ago. I just learning the civic understanding how to do it. So I understand what you mean. The electorate has to be informed. One of the things I like about this season of election right now is so many candidates. It's like, this isn't, in my opinion, I'm not looking for lockstep agreement on everything. I like the ideas coming in from a number of different places. So tell me about I know there's a bit of contention or whatever about the idea of voting with the Republican brand or voting your conscience. I know that David Oldham had to deal with this as an elector. And I don't want to, revisit the entire argument, but how do you feel about that concept of voting the brand or voting the conscience?
Oh, so we're talking about electors now, like in a national election.
Well, I'm saying at the higher level, is this the kind of thing? I just know that's been one of the things that's been chided about in the social media sphere. This idea.
Well, now we've talked about there has been some contention about the platform, and I don't know I don't know if I misspoke. Honestly, when I talk on Zoom, I either feel like I'm max headroom or I'm in front of a firing squad. I would rather be in front of a firing squad because at least I know what's coming. So I don't know if I just spoke or something at the chairman's thing. I don't know, because
it can happen. I
can't figure it out, because people have been asking me, so you say that we shouldn't follow the platform. I'm like, well, where did that come from?
And I never heard that. I never heard that. What I heard was it had to do something about, and it may have been specifically about electors being held to the Republican brand as opposed to voting their conscience. So having to do with electors, it reminded me of the David Oldham issue when he was an elector.
We didn't even go over that.
So it doesn't matter. It was a question. What about either of the Davids? What have you got for our guests here? Question.
Go ahead, Oldham.
Well, hi, Jenny. I think where
Hey.
Tom's driving at is oftentimes we hear, the whole, true conservative or true Republican versus rhino, and I think it leads to the question: what do you see as the chairman's job, especially in primaries? What is your position on, is it to endorse particular candidates, or is it something else? What's your idea on that?
Well, that's a really excellent question, but I said this at the forum, and I believe this. I do not believe the chairman's job is to endorse in a primary. And here's the reason why. To me, that's like we Republicans say that we don't like top-down leadership. I mean, we like kind of bottom-up leadership. Well, if that's the case, and we're all individuals, then why would I come out and say, well, I feel like you need to vote for so-and-so? Well, to me, that kind of begs the question of how do other people then have their personal opinion, and how can the people's voices be heard if the chairman is saying, well, I think we ought to do this thing? I think that silences a lot of people that I don't think is an appropriate thing. I'm not saying we shouldn't follow the platform. We absolutely should, but I don't see that the chairman's job is to take away the voice of the people in the precincts and at the county level by saying, I think you need to vote for so-and-so, especially in a primary.
Van, what do you got?
Yeah, Jenny, good to see you again. We spoke briefly at OKPAC a couple weeks ago. I think it was right after you had announced. Any regrets that you weren't able to go to more state or county conventions around the state?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. I mean, certainly I wish that had been the case. And I love traveling. I mean, that's what I did when I was doing Common Core. I think I ended up visiting something like at least 45 counties, if not 40, maybe out of the 77. I mean, I was all over the state. I enjoyed doing that.
6 years ago, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's absolutely. I feel badly that I haven't been able to attend, for sure.
Tom, if I could, Jenny, one of the things I just found out recently, 2 years ago, most of us in the Republican Party were unaware you have been the mayor of the city of Luther. Is that correct?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. I think it was a controversy that came up when some veterans with PTSD were wanting to be able to get medicine at a dispensary, and I think you took a pretty hard stand there. How did that turn out with zoning out dispensaries?
Well, actually, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a hard stand at all, because I think what had happened was, I think you kind of, there was a little jumping of the gun there, and we hadn't even had a chance to hear that issue in the at the town board before there was even, comment about it. So we have always done, followed the OMMA regulations in town.
Okay.
And have been able to, we do have one dispensary that's actually located on 66, but no, there was no controversy about that at all.
So were able to get it locally. Those
Absolutely.
Good.
Excellent. You guys are listening to Jenni White running for state GOP chair. The election's coming up here April 10th. You're with us once again on every Monday night on Facebook Live, 3D Politics with David Van, David Oldham, and the Verbal Viking, Tommy McKay here. Hey, since we're moving into the marijuana discussion, or at least we talked about
Didn't know
it.
we were, but okay.
Oh yeah, I think we were all rolling one. What do I'm working on an episode with someone in the industry about the seed to sale legislation. I'm really actually haven't brushed up on it. Don't know enough about it, but here comes seed to sale, and so I'm going to want to know, where the GOP stands on that kind of thing. It's all about tracking the seed. It's like cradle to grave. They're gonna track the seed where it came from all the way to the end user, but of course that information won't be allowed to be visited by your employer, even though they'll have it. So anyway, you don't have an opinion on that. What about 17th Amendment? What
How
about
about
the
what, say again?
17th Amendment? You familiar with that one?
No, sorry, I haven't memorized them all the way down
See,
to
all
I
right. So
know.
this is the one thing, and then
That's
we'll
why I
give
have
you.
a pocket
We're
constitution.
going to give you a chance.
There you
We
go.
do have our purposes here at 3D Politics, and the repeal of the 17th Amendment is one place that both of these contrarians have agreed with me on. The 17th Amendment essentially allows for the senators to be elected by popular vote
Thank you.
instead
Okay,
of
yes.
being held
Yes.
accountable to the state legislatures.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
literally there's no reason to have a senator unless it's going to be me if the only reason they're being elected is popularity, because I'd love to just be elected to not be held accountable to the feds or the state, just run a popularity contest. So you can agree with us on the repeal of the 17th Amendment?
Well, I definitely think we have to go back to having the states actually decide on who the senators are, and not popular vote.
Does that pass muster with you, Oldham?
Well, yeah.
Okay. I just needed the stamp.
Right, Dave.
That's what I needed, was a stamp of constitutional approval.
Well, I gotta say, yeah, I'm kind of rusty on the numbering too. But I happen to know that one, but I was going to be more disgusted with Oldham that he went to Washington on January 6th with you and hadn't had that talk yet.
Oh, no, we've had it off and on. I don't know why I can't. You would think that the 17th would be stuck right here, but I don't.
They're going to bring
Maybe the hard drive is just full. Who knows?
It could be a trick question. That's why you always kind of withhold just to
Hold on.
Well, these guys like to bring people on and test them on the numbers.
Sure. That's right.
The
what date was it?
Well, getting back to a party thing, if I could, Jenny, what are the things that stand out to you as things where you think the party is ripe for maybe some reform, maybe in structure or process? Any ideas?
Actually, yes, I actually do. I think the party is built appropriate. I think we just don't follow the way it's built and the way that it works. So I think once we would go back to actually following the actual plan, it's going to work 100% better. But I think the problem that we've had, and this isn't just, and I'm not faulting David McLean, this is just kind of a general problem that we've had. We don't communicate. It seems like we don't communicate at the state, at the county level, down to precincts up to county. We don't communicate from the state to the I talk to people in counties and they have no idea. They've never heard from anybody at the state. They don't know what other counties are doing. And I just think that's so wrong, because if you can get everybody together on one, it's like we're siloed, county, 77 little silos of counties. And that's not helpful, because if we could all get on the same page, think of what we could do in a statewide election, not only a statewide election, but a national election, if we were all on the same page. But we don't communicate, and we don't work the party structure the way it's supposed to work. And then we wonder why it doesn't work. And you're like, well,
sure.
The Republicans just simply don't know how to throw a rave. We just keep getting our butts kicked by the Democrats. They know how to put on a party. The Republicans.
So far, we've done marijuana and raves.
Trying to help us out here.
Okay.
But I'm just saying, they're like, well, when you're having a drug party, everybody knows and shows up on time, so the Republicans need to learn how to throw a political rave where we're all having a great constitutional time, but we know how to show up. I've worked with the Republicans, and I worked with them for several times in a row. And I kept saying, you got to pick a stage, pick an area for a stage, make an area for a stage. You know what? The Republicans don't know the word stage. So finally I said, pick an area where nobody gets to walk. God, they have no idea how to throw a party. Okay. Literally. All right. So what else for Jenni White? We do have fun too. There's a hell of a lot more fun than the other.
I'd rather have fun.
That's what we're doing. So it's a rave. It's a political rave. So, all right, Oldham, what do you got? You're awfully quiet there.
So we've had talks, and it's near and dear to me. But we've had talks of the whole communication thing, and that the Oklahoma state GOP office would have a media center and this and that and the other thing. What are you thinking about doing for communications? I mean, are you going to start? I mean, is there going to be something different than has been done, or just emails, or what's the thought process that you're?
Well, honestly, I think we need to do everything. I think we haven't been engaging on social media hardly at all. And I think one of the places that we're going to pull young people in for sure is social media. I mean, why are we not running some kind of ads for events or even for precinct meetings on Snapchat? I mean, my kids use Snapchat all the time, and they're conservative kids. I mean, why are we not using appropriate platforms?
Isn't social media, I'm sorry to interrupt, but social media, isn't it an echoplex? I mean, isn't it just you just live in an echo chamber? I mean, you're not really, who was ever convinced by social media?
Well, no, I'm talking about ads. I mean, and I mean, you can get some good ads and ad space that's relatively inexpensive on social media, and it's an easy platform to use to spread information. So I think that's one thing. And David, I like that concept of kind of a media center, but I think one of the things, because I kind of look at Texas and Colonel, help me. I don't know why thank you, Alan West. I don't know where that went. I got Colonel and then it stopped. But I look at Texas and I look at Colonel Alan West, and he puts out a weekly kind of a state of the GOP, and he sends it out. Bingo. I mean, he sends out, constant communications. He's talking about the Republican Party in and engaging people on not just on social media, but he is there as well. And I think that's kind of a big thing. I think if we don't start engaging people on the Republican Party issues and what it actually means to be a Republican. I mean, even if you just do a compare and contrast, well, this is what the Democrats did this week, we do blah, whatever that is. I just don't think we're out there enough to make a dent. I don't. I firmly believe I've got years and years of communication as a writer on national publications, and then, being interviewed nationally and locally, over many, many years. And I don't have a problem doing that. And I just feel like connecting with the public, engaging with the public is the best way to go.
I'll vouch for that, Tom. She was one of the first bloggers when we started the Sooner Politics platform.
So we've got just about 7 minutes to go, and one of the things I want to touch on, actually, I wish I could have brought my source fast enough. Well, first of all, let's just touch mask mandate. I mean, we have to go into deep detail. You like masks? You hate masks? What do you want?
Well, as the mayor in Luther, now I'm part of a five-member board, and none of us ever wanted to shut down restaurants or make anybody wear a mask. I mean, we all believe in individual liberty here, and you are an adult and you can take care of yourself. And if you're an adult, you can take care of your children. There's no reason for me to step in. There's no reason for any of us to step in. You do your deal. If you'd like, information, I'm happy to provide information, and I can tell you where to go, but
I feel like I'm in trouble. Yeah. No, I don't need information. My God, if I need information, I'm in trouble.
No,
I know where the party is.
To provide information to people, that's what I mean. I mean, if the people wanted information, I was happy to provide it, but not tell them what to do.
Right, I love that. So basically, no on mask mandates. Okay,
No.
You want to wear a mask, wear a mask. Okay, now this is a trick question. I'm just warning you right up front. Are schools underfunded?
No.
Thank you.
That's not a trick question, actually.
I
That's a pretty easy question to ask. No, schools are not underfunded.
So, I mean, why is it Deborah Gist can't keep the lights on and the doors open then? I mean, why?
Well, maybe we need to have a forensic audit of Tulsa Public Schools and Oklahoma Public Schools.
I heard
and
those
then we would
magic
find
words.
out forensic audit. Everybody wants to say audit. Well, do you know the difference between a regular audit and a forensic audit? We need a forensic audit, because I don't know how in the world you can have that much money and it suddenly just evaporates and, but I need more. I mean, and the COVID money, don't even get me started. My eyeballs will start rolling back in my head.
Yeah, that difference is like the difference between Fox 23 and Dateline. where they go through the DNA. Yeah, $2.5 billion every 360 some odd days, and you can't keep the lights on. And when you do, you need more money for books when we're all going online because you let the kids rip the books to shreds in the first place. All right, well, that was an easy one.
That was easy.
So we covered kind of your motivations for running, and three, we covered your policy directions. I think, did we kind of?
I mean, my policy directions are just to, really work the system the way it is.
Kind of get really back to.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let me throw in with this thought process. Okay, we've watched. You just had the discussion about the school funding, and we watched the teachers go on strike a few years ago and get big raises. And our state chairman at the time said, "Oh, we need to give them raises," and so forth. I don't know if anybody remembers that.
Yeah, it was Pam Pollard. Yes, she did.
The question is, what would a Jenni White administration, what would your answer be in a situation like that? And it doesn't matter what the situation, make it up, but take that situation. How would you have handled, say, Pam's dilemma when that came up? How would you have handled that?
Honestly, I think there's a really great way to handle it. And I hope that that's how we did it with rope. And that is, I wrote a lot of blogs and they educated people. And yes, I think when people have education and they actually see the instead of just coming out and saying, well, you're a bunch of idiots, that's bad. I don't think that's helpful. Talking down to people or, being ugly, it's not helpful. I mean, it really is true that you win more people, more flies with honey than vinegar. But what you really do, you make a stance by making your case in education. Okay, well, let's talk about this. What are the facts? This is the fact number one. This is the fact number two. This is the fact number three. Make your own conclusions, but these are the facts. And I do think that really, and here's another reason why I think that approach is really good. I have heard from people when I've spoken before, because I have a program that I do right now on the being a patriot. And they say, because I say, stand up for yourself. Don't let the bullies back you down. You tell them what's going on. Well, but I don't know how to articulate my case. I don't know how to explain this to people. And the best thing you can do is give them education, because as soon as they're educated, they can learn how to fight for themselves, but they can't fight if they don't know what they're fighting for. So education, I think, is always the best way to go.
Yeah, I come from a family of educators, and there's a big difference between being able to understand a concept and being able to explain it.
Exactly.
And so a lot of people get the concepts, but then they struggle. They say, well, I don't know how to say it.
Right.
I don't know what to say. Jenni White, I really appreciate you being here this evening. Your energy is wonderful. Tell us where to find you, how to get more information about you, etc.
Well, I'd rather not put my phone number out.
No, we need to know the last 4 digits of your social and where your rave is. We know you're having a rave. We know there's a stage. No, but I mean, you're running for you're campaigning.
I know. I sent out an email today, and the email even does have my phone number on it, because I've had calls today. So.
I wouldn't put out my phone number unless it was
I did.
You. But tell them, I mean, you got to have a web page. You guys are sticking around for coming up, hopefully soon. Yes, she just entered the waiting room. Christine Leverifon is coming up, and John Bennett after that. But right now, we're thanking Jenni White for being here. Jenni, tell us where to find out how what you're going to say at the GOP when you run. Facebook.
Facebook. You can find me, Jenni White, on Facebook.
Jenni, very good. Okay, we're going to try it. Jenni White, I appreciate you being here.
Thank you guys for having me.
We're going to try to beam you out. You ready, David?
Okay.
Here he goes.
Go ahead.
Here she goes. Thanks for being here. Jenni White, thank you.
Thank you.
There she goes. Wow, that was fantastic, guys. You guys that was fantastic. I can't believe how much fun that was. We're going to stop shortly right now for station identification and reset the show. And coming up next is as I said before, Christine Leviathan. But first, here we go.